Hello, everybody. This is your host, Aram Melkoumov, and you're listening to another episode of the Product Innovations series. Today, I'm joined here with Burak Kantarci, who joins me from Turkey and is the director of product at Thundra. Hopefully, I got that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Burak. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be
Cool.
here.
Thank you. So let's dive in. I had a few different questions I wanted to go through with you, but the first one was I wanted to talk about pivots. Lots of startups go through different pivots. It's like a way
Yeah.
for survival, right?
Okay.
So, from my understanding, you went through a few product pivots at Thundra as a company during
hmm
its growth. So, what was your original product, and what is it
hmm
now, and what kind of pivots did you have to go through?
Yeah. Well, I believe it's been like 7 years since from my graduation and get my hand dirty in the digital product businesses. So I've been entrepreneurship for sometimes. I worked as a product designer for sometimes. Currently, I'm working as a product manager, but every time I saw that the organizations need to change because everything is changing around us. So, especially for the startups, the pivoting or not so-called pivot change is must. So, Tundra had couple of changes throughout its lifetime. Actually, make more clear on our pivot processes, I could briefly talk about the history of Tundra and also come to like the why we have changed our direction. And it's not quite changing the direction, but it's kind of opening new ways, maybe discovering new ways to generate businesses. So Thundra is basically a spin-off startup founded in Opsgenie. Opsgenie was a company acquired by Atlassian back in 2018, I guess. During that time, the developers were just dealing with the serverless architectures, and they found a they were not sufficient enough visibility monitoring for serverless architectures during their development process. So
Hmm.
they developed an internal product basically, and the company had decided to like, hey, this is a business. We should make this product apart from our acquisition to Atlassian and set up a new company for that. And then Thundra became a standalone startup spin-off from the Opsgenie team. So it was 2018 since that Thundra has founded, and from 2018 to 2021, they were highly competitive in the serverless application monitoring market. So they were expanding features, and the serverless market was expanding as Tundra product grows. However, they saw some another opportunities by the technology they found in the company. So basically, what initial product was doing is monitoring the production side of the development processes. So they see some opportunities on the pre-production side. Like you may think about as this is as a kitchen. So once you like prepare the meal, so you get the ingredients and you like create the food and serve it. So the first product was for after preparing the food. So for the development processes, they found some new opportunities while preparing the food. So this is why actually they try to like investigate, discover how should we approach these problems. Is because the products Tundra was building, it is kind of dog fooding. because we are developing developer products, and most of our team are developers. So
Mm.
we are trying to solve our own problems. Our first users are ourselves. So once we just like the company has decided to as mentioned, find new ways to just discover new opportunities. That's why we had initial product, and after 2021, since I joined the company, after I joined the company, we created two another products called Psychic and Foresight.
Okay, interesting. And what would you say was when going through these learnings, when going through like
Hmm.
whether it was a small pivot or like a refocus as a
Hmm.
product leader, how did you kind of prioritize on what to build or what
Hmm.
to focus on? What kind of whether it's metrics or indicators do you look at in order to determine what you should double down on?
Prioritizing during the pivoting or change is quite hard. It's because you are dealing with the chaos.
Mm.
You don't know what you. Of course, we had couple of competitors on the market, but we are trying to find uh, a, a new way to do something for a new domain. So prioritizing was quite hard. For that prioritization cases, we end up like being creating the minimum viable products for every cases. So as you of course you know Teresa Torres's book Continuous Delivery Habits. So we were in a phase of like continuously focusing on how our customers or how our target users are trying to solve struggling on those issues, and once we just gather some ideas from the market, from the target users, we started to just prioritize. Okay, like we talked with like for example 10 customers or 10 potential users. They are not actually our customers or users, but they were our personas to target. So uh, by the way, they were hypothetically our potential users, because we are also trying to find our right user personas as well.
Mm.
So we were targeting some couple of user personas. So actually, we were asking questions, we gathered their insights, and then like, hey, we asked, let's say 10 users, and seven of them struggling on X issue. So this is what we should focus on. This is how we should maybe solve the problem. And then it was a quite verbally challenge, because we were not applying some kind of prioritization framework on those times. We learned our from lessons, and we just found some framework for ourselves. Maybe we can talk about it later. But
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
but 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 we were by basically trying to find the most valuable idea with less amount of effort. So because as a startup, you're of course dealing with the time. You need to just go to the market, try your solution, and learn from it, and then like act. You need to act fast. So those are the things we were trying to do while
Okay.
prioritizing
And
things.
and so, what was the hardest part of the prioritization? Was it like picking which one to do, and like how did you pick which one was the right? Like what was the method?
Well, actually, it requires lots of communication with the stakeholders. I believe some before like I started working as a PM, I thought that like of course you have big responsibility on everything, on the deciding things, but well, you have the inputs from our users, you have the input from like leadership, you have the input from our technical team, and all in all, you and by the lots of discussions, you end up having aligned on something. So we at that time we were not just like saying, hey, this is X large important for me and this is large important for me, and then like deciding on what should we do next. We were just talking a lot and basically deciding as a team what should we build for our next thing. But and the most challenging part of the prioritization is aligning with the team. I'm saying that we were aligning, but the aligning is quite hard on those times because for our case, we also we were not just like pivoting our product, we were pivoting our team as well because even though they are the developer for products, the domains are quite different. They have they have quite differences. Therefore, like aligning and like onboarding everyone on why we should do that, how our how the technical requirement like I end up like translating the technical requirements or the user insight to the maybe non-technical team, maybe vice versa, maybe from the market to the technical team. So as a
Mm-hmm.
product manager, it is I have a like analogy. PM is the toss juggler. Like those times you
The
end up
juggler. Yeah.
yeah, like you juggling lots of things so that like you should do the uh, you need to prioritize the most effective one. But like of course, as everyone, as a product manager, I failed on those examples, but you learn from them.
And if I'm not mistaken, when you were going through these, new product spin-offs or the pivots, you still had to support the original product, right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
is that
exactly.
correct?
Yeah.
So, what was the rationale for that, and why didn't you just, deprecate it or kill it off?
Well, actually, this is a great question. Because you have a limited amount of work power for your team, and keeping support of the things maybe you park somewhere is quite hard sometimes. Your team needs to like there are new goals and there are also a thing that you need to take care of. So there are both pros and cons on that issue. The reason why we kept the product, the first product on our side is there were still growing user activity on our product, but the serverless market was not expanding as our company required. The pace was not quite as we wanted, so that's why we parked it and kept it for the next opportunities for our initial product. So it requires not too many work efforts. So we are just maintaining and like giving customer support for our existing customers. So
Mm-hmm.
this is basically the decision by just looking at the market expansion side. So it was a quite great product. It is generating a great amount of money for our company, and also it is still a great opportunity to have a product on our side because even though I say like they are the new products are quite different than the old ones, we can still have a connections, integration opportunities with our new products as well. So let's say we created a new product, Sidekick, which is helping developers to debug their applications. So you can use Sidekick's features, capabilities with also Thundra's initial product, and when they are come together, it becomes your development environment becomes powerful like any other tool. So that's why we are still keeping our initial products on our sites.
Okay. let's talk about frameworks.
Yeah.
Right. You talked about. I wanna dive into this one because it's, having spoken to a lot of product leaders, everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah.
There's no one size fits all kind of framework. So, no surprise there, right? Um,
Yeah, of course.
and you were also a product designer, early on in your career, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So what was the biggest takeaway, like for you when
Hmm.
you were, going through the process of migrating from a product designer to a product
Yeah.
manager and then a head of product? So that's my first
Hmm.
question. And the second question is, what frameworks do you use, right, in your current role?
Well, actually, well, the biggest takeaway for me, just as 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 product designer, as product manager, or as an entrepreneur, they have all in common is just I love building things. So switching one from another was not quite challenging for me because I had also a computer science degree. So well, the building digital stuffs was a passion for me from the beginning. So the biggest takeaway for me is for every case, keeping hands dirty in every role you have. So as a product person, like I'm developing I'm a product manager of a developer tool. So in order for me to just really understand how our product works or how users are struggling, I like keep my hands dirty. Like I get my hands dirty and understand from it. Even like I can give an example from our entrepreneurship. Like during our entrepreneurship career, the company was called Cisco, and what we were doing is attaching some device underneath the garbage trucks and detecting potholes on the road. So we were
Oh,
just
okay.
building the hardware and also the software of that solution. So what I meant getting your hands dirty is I really meant it because we were just going under the trucks and trying to attach our device. So that's how you really understand your the problem and the solution you need to like offer to your potential customers or potential users. So those are the biggest takeaways for me. On the framework case. So all organization have like startups has different unique challenges. So some scale ups has unique challenges, and also like every company has unique challenges. Even though like let's say we had my previous company was it's been like 15 years. They have been still in the business. So they have a structure, and even though the team is not quite large, they have its own like their own challenges, and uh, aligning or just introducing a new framework sometimes quite challenging for every structure. So I believe tools are frameworks, and also some tools are just like 9-day wonders. So they're motivating you. They are like leading the way, but every step ends with the culture, the company culture, the team culture, and etc. So you like imagine there are countless productivity tools, task management tools on the market, but they are not solving every like let's say they are approaching the problem from different ways. So it is good to have them, but I believe you shouldn't, and teams shouldn't align and like lean back on the products or frameworks and like expect everything will be all right after hey, okay, we are using value and effort prioritization framework, and like, okay, it is not that. You need to align the whole company and whole culture for that. So
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned, we were just not using a prioritization framework and etc. throughout our organization, but once we like struggled at some point, not because the after MVP processes, the customer and user insights like uh, came up together, and like we were dealing plenty of backlog items, so we were just uh, sometimes end up having discussions about non-create value zero value items for our during for our daily life. So that's why me and my colleague has discovered has discovered some couple of prioritization framework, and we found that like we were kind of using value and effort framework for ourselves, but in a verbal way. So we thought that maybe we can pass and adapt value and effort framework for ourselves, and then go and say and then decide our next big thing to do. So we modified value and effort framework. We discussed with our engineering team, and since then we are happy with that. Actually, this is our prioritization framework, and also we can you can say that we are working as a sprint, so we are getting highly benefited from agile methodologies, but we are not strictly following
Agile.
all the agile rules.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of frameworks. There's a lot of methodologies out there. Um, what I wanted to ask next was what's like your relationship like? I don't know how your corporate governance or what your organization structure looks like, but um, as a head of product, how do you engage or collaborate with the founding team? So I don't know if they're still around,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
you mentioned talking about alignment, getting team alignment, and then like other types of alignment. So like I 100% agree, and I wanted to ask, how do you go about sharing, whether it's results or vision or a direction approval with like the management team or with the leadership team,
Yeah.
when it comes to
Well,
product.
yeah, sure. So basically, our product team is directly working with our CEO, and our CEO is thankfully a founder who is really successful for software SaaS business, because he was also founder of Opsgenie acquired by Atlassian. So
Okay.
he is quite good at building developer tools. So what we are doing is, of course, we have weekly meetings for that, and we are prioritizing together with the whole items. And apart from our relationship with CEO, we have CTO and co-founder in-house. So we have more direct relationship with our CTO and our engineering manager, and um, actually talking with the leadership is and synchronizing with leadership is not quite challenging for us, because we have an autonomous structure, and we can decide if we need to act quickly. We can decide and like try the things we want to try. And apart from that, we as a product team, we are just releasing some product memos for each week. So we are mentioning in a one pager, we are mentioning what we are doing, what we are planning to do next. What was the things we learned from the past week? What was the metrics? What was the biggest news on the market? So we are aligning the whole team with a one pager. So it was a
Okay.
quite, and we are trying to find engaging ways to build those one pagers as well. Like we are adding some GIFs and we are adding some like the Spotify links. So this is the music of the week. So we are actually as a product team, we are just building some new ways to synchronize and align with the whole team, not only the management, but also
Hmm.
the development and every team member. And those are the things we do basically.
Awesome. Okay. Just a couple more questions. It's more kind of general questions I always like asking to product leaders. So the first one I have is, what are some of the key product lessons or principles that you keep coming back to? You know,
Yeah.
when you're stuck, when you're confused, or you don't know what to do next.
Well, this is a great question. So maybe I can think of it, but like uh, once I stuck on something, and once I like uh, can't find the thing what we should do next, I always end up looking on the inspirations. So not only just maybe it may be a competitor, it may be a friend who's like do things in some way. As a product, it would be much more competition side. So I go back and like try to learn how our competitors solve those idea, and go back to our maybe users and gathering the clarifying my mind by just talking with our users. So if it is possible, this is the best way to like clear your mind and come back to like when you struggle on something. I hope that
Yeah.
I understand your question right.
Yeah, you did.
So the searching for an inspiration and clearing my mind, or my clearing my idea, just asking some some friends or users or my or the team is I believe the best way to just decide the thing as a product manager.
Hmm. And when it comes to other product managers that you've come across or that
Hmm.
you've worked with in the past, what are some of the things often that you see them kind of like skipping,
Hmm. Hmm.
which results them in not launching a great product?
Well, first I believe the desire of building the best thing you can ever you can it is possible. So uh, I see some teams like spending so much on little details, because like everything can change in every moment, but the time you are not launching your product is wasting your time and money on in some cases. Like you could learn lots of things like deciding internally, but sometimes I see that teams are spending too many times on dealing so little details. Hey, this button should be red, or this button should be
Yeah.
one pixel right. It is too many bureaucracy, I believe. So this is the most uh, common. In my perspective, it is a mistake, because the best in my point of view, the best way to uh, know what to build. So you need to try, you need to fail, and you
Yeah.
need to like come back stronger. So you can say that this is for life as well, but for also a product management, it is I believe the most uh, common thing I see. Don't be a perfectionist. So just go build an MVP. I'm not saying MVP should be ugly. MVP should give the great experience, but you can gain pace in lots of ways. So I can say that like being a perfectionist for our so sometimes wasting too many things for the teams and person itself.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's sometimes it's shocking how stuff like that takes up so much time and
Yeah,
priority.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Last question I have for you, Burak. Is there anything that I haven't asked you yet in this interview that you want to share as your message to the audience and parting wisdom? Let's put it that way.
Well, maybe I can add up something for maybe a new product managers, or maybe the ones who are discovering product management. Uh, as my title says, like, of course, I can look like director of products at Thundra, but it's been like 7 years since I'm in the digital business, or during my career. But uh, the best takeaway for me, of course, I mentioned getting hands dirty, but also knowing your superpowers as a product manager, and awareing yourself, becoming, increasing your awareness of your company culture, leadership. It helps you to just your translate your mind into the actionable thing. So I believe self-awareness for again, it is also a quote for life, but as a product manager, knowing your superpowers, because you may be a technical person, you may be like some much more business person, you may be like as myself. I think my as since my background has also a product design, I kind of end up like uh, I my superpower is getting things from user and create
Mm.
some experience from that. So, but some, for example, another product manager, my colleague has much more technical compared to myself. So he is more into just uh, fast prototyping things. So knowing your superpowers helps you a lot throughout your career. So like as a product manager, I can say that this is quite important.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Burak. I really appreciate your
Yeah,
time today and coming on our series. And always
yeah.
thank you to our listeners for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's a good time to do so. We've got lots of new exciting episodes to come up. So thank you so much, Burak, again.
Thank you.